Hello and welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video. For this one we're back on the old budget games. So this is Hektik, which was released by Mastertronic in 1984, which means this is probably among the first of the Mastertronic games to be released that didn't use the shitty games creator program. As is also further illustrated by the fact that this wasn't by the Darling brothers. This is by someone called Martin Ellis, and no, I've not heard of him either. Now, when we get a game underway, you'll quickly see that this is a blatant copy of an arcade coin-op. In fact, looking at the controls, it gives you a pretty good idea of what game this is a copy of. So let's get a game underway. And yes, you can clearly see this is Space Panic. I've got to admit, Space Panic is not one of those games that I am a big fan of. It's just never appealed to me. Partly because the enemies that you face it in Space Panic are a bit on the fucking stupid side, as indeed these ones seem to be. Well, now they're not. Oh, fucking bollocks that up, and now I'm stuck. Yeah, so a lot of the time in Space Panic, you'll encounter an enemy, and, well, I say encounter it, he'll start approaching you, and then he'll just turn away for seemingly no reason. And considering these things are all supposed to be coming after you, it doesn't really make a lot of sense that they then just suddenly bugger off. I got a bit lucky there. That one fell on top of the other, so you get a bonus for that. Actually, you don't get a bonus, you just get the two taken out at the same time. So there we go, level 1 done. So on to level 2, where it's pretty much more the same, except there's a lot more of them. He's almost certainly, okay, this one that was above has come over. And so this one's approaching. Now, there were countless Space Panic clones released around this sort of time. I think there was one for the Spectrum with the really imaginative title of Dig and Fill. As we then complete level 2, and we go on level 3, and this is where the difficulty goes up quite a bit, because although there's only 3 of these creatures around here now, that green one you have to drop down 2 levels, otherwise he's not killed off by it. So if we can get it to come back over, I'll illustrate it. Except no, the red one's going to get here before him. So I'll use that gap to... oh shit, actually no, I shouldn't have done that, because if he gets up, which he does, and because he was all the way down, yeah, he's now mutated to the next creature, and this fucking thing has to be dropped down 3 holes. And because of the way that the level has been done, I don't know if I can, I can't dig 3. So let's try around here. Now I've got to get there quickly enough, and I'm not fucking going to. No, you fucking shyster. Okay, can I get it quick enough? No, you cunt. well, he's there, but that's not good enough. And now the oxygen is going to run out. Yeah, so I've got to do that level again. So the game can get quite frustrating. So try and drop him down on top. No, fucking. Now he's here. So I've got one, but I'm about to be. Oh, fucking hell. Alright, let's see if I can time it. No, fucking bollocks that up. There's enough space here where surely I can dig two, but can I get there in time? No. And that means he is now mutated to that one again. This is where the game gets really fucking annoying. So, I mean, I'm pushing down, but except I can't because I didn't have enough time. Alright, so yeah, I'm pushing down, but it don't do anything because yeah, he's bollocks. I mean, at least this one can't. Yeah, it can't mutate if he gets up there. But then again, I mean, I'm trying to find somewhere where I can actually dig a third hole, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. And yeah, oxygen has run out. So not only are the levels, you know, fairly tricky, but you've also got an extremely tight fucking time limit in order to get through them. Let's have another go. So this is a game that I did actually have back in the day. I'm not exactly what you'd call a big fan of it, because, well, like I say, I was never a big fan of Space Panic to begin with. So yeah, even though it's a sort of El Cheapo knockoff and it was only $1.99, I was not that keen on it, despite the fact I did have this back in the day. So level 1 is relatively easy. Level 2 is a bit of a pain in the arse because there are so many of these fucking things. Right, so that's 3 of them done. But of course, I've got to get these last 2. There we go, so that wasn't too difficult, but now we get to the first of the Cuntish levels with the green one that we've got to get through 2 holes before you finish him off, or we drop one on top of him. Either way, it is not going to be easy. Now, despite the fact that I'm not a big fan of Space Panic because of the fucking hell, that was handy, because of how stupid the enemies are as we get through that level pretty fucking fast. And we get an extra life. Lucky old us. Yeah, so, although I'm not a big fan of Space Panic because of how stupid the enemies are, I find this annoying for precisely the opposite reason. Yeah, these things are, well, I didn't have much chance there. Yeah, because they zero in on you so fucking quick. You Yeah, there you go. So now I'm stuck, and yeah. So yeah, the difficulty here is significantly increased. And, you know, oh, now this cunt's coming over. See, what I really need is to be able to drop one of these on top of this cunt, but no. So again, I've got, no, this isn't going to drop down on him. So now, oh, what the fuck didn't I just wait another second? That's all it would have taken. There we go. Right. I needed a bit of luck there, and I got it. And now, yeah, I have a feeling this is the furthest I've ever got in this game. Right, yeah, I was going to get nowhere there. I think that's game over. Yeah. I'll just put in the name just so you know, I can actually say, yes, this is me playing it. Worse luck. Right, let's start another game and get the review underway then, shall we? Presentation is pretty much on par with the coin-op original. That's not necessarily a good thing. The coin-op original has very sparse presentation indeed. In fact, if you ask me, the coin-op original doesn't have an awful lot going for it. But, you know, considering it's a cheapo knockoff, yeah, they got the presentation pretty much right. Unfortunately, the same also applies to the audio. The audio of this game is horrendous. But that absolutely applies to the coin-op. The coin-op original has some of the worst audio I've heard of any arcade game of that sort of era. I mean, it really does fucking make you envy to death. So, well, actually, I'll say about the audio, it's the music that is absolute shite. The majority of the game is actually played in pretty much total silence. I'm not necessarily sorry about that. In fact, I'm not at all sorry about that. Rather lucked out there. Well, we seem to be breezing through these levels. Another extra life. So yeah, the audio seems to go from, you know, being absolutely horrific to complete silence, and there's not an awful lot in between. Oh, okay, I thought I'd mistimed that. Well, I can't go down 3 from there, so I'm going to have to go this sort of way. And that's not in the right place, and oh, fucking hell. Right, so I've got 2. but I've got to get that third one on the top floor. Oh, looks like I may have done it. There we go. So anyway, that's presentation, graphics. Actually, no, I haven't done the graphics, have I? I mean, the graphics are quite accurate, you know, copies of the coin-op again, which is to say, relatively basic. I mean, it's not like they're anything, you know, truly stunning. In fact, they're not even close to being great, but they are sufficient. That's about it. The only way I'm going to get through this level is to have one dropped on top of the other. Like that. I lucked out there. The obvious difference between this and the coin-op is that the aspect ratio. Oh, fuck that right up. It's in the coin-op version. It's very much a portrait aspect ratio. In this, it's not even close. Oh fuck it! Now I'm stuck again. See, they do zero right into you. They really do chase after you quite relentlessly. Oh. And the other thing is, you do need a fair bit of space to be able to dig any of the holes. And yeah, that was fucking hell. I'm not getting anywhere now. So it looks like my progress is coming to a very sharp halt. Yeah. And now I'm stuck. So yeah, again. There we go. And the levels, as you may have already been able to deduce, they are completely like randomly generated. You have no idea where the ladders are going to be placed, and as a result, it is entirely possible that you can have huge areas within the level where you can't dig any holes at all. Which makes, you know, progressing not so much difficult as nigh on impossible. I wasn't sure which way he was going to come, but yeah. Alright, so anyway, so audio, presentation, graphics done. Gameplay, yeah, I'm not a fan. I just fucking made a real bollocks up of that. The way that level was laid out, I could have done okay, but no, not now. I got myself trapped again. So your progress is almost somewhat determined by the placement, you know, the random placement of the ladders. If they're in a... oh, fuck that. Yeah. And now he's going to mutate into... oh, okay. I thought he was going to mutate into one of the greens. The other thing is, I'm just not a fan of the actual gameplay. I mean, this has got to be one of the earliest coin-op platform games. But the whole idea of, you know, digging holes and then you got to push them through, I just think it's a bit of a shit game concept, really. It just doesn't interest me. That's what I wanted to do, so I rather lucked out there. Now just got to wait for this gun to turn up. Oh, come on. I mean, you can refill the holes, but normally they are pretty relentless in chasing after you. Of course now, yeah. So overall, I mean, yeah, it is a pretty good you know, conversion of Space Panic, given that it is just, you know, a cheapo knockoff of the thing. They have done a pretty good job of the conversion. The trouble is, that means they've done a good conversion of a game that's really not much cop. So, you know, you almost have to wonder, was it really worth doing? My answer would be no. Oh, you cunt. I can't do anything there. Oh, fuck it, and it fell down there anyway. So there we go, Hektik from Mastertronic, blatant copy of Space Panic, and therein lies its problems. It's a pretty good copy of a game that I don't like anyway. I will score it 2 out of 10. I mean, presentation wise, graphics wise, it is a very good copy, but yeah, I just don't like the game. So yeah, not one that I would be desperate to play more than I have done in this video. So there we go, Hektik from Mastertronic for the Commodore 64, 2 out of 10. I guess if you are a fan of Space Panic, you'll probably really like this, but I'm not, so I don't. That brings this review to an end, and we'll see you at the next one.